Thank you for joining today's webinar. I am Holly Greer. I'm with your LiveWell team. And today's webinar is Dig into Your Summer Garden. So let's go start. So we're going to cover a few different areas. And the first most important thing is we're going to answer, how do you get started? And talk about warm season vegetables and watering, because that's always a very popular thing. And we're going to talk about your upkeep and what does maintenance look like for your summer garden. So started. The first thing you always want to check, especially when you start a spring garden, not summer, but you always want to check your last freeze date. And the average in Texas right now is March 13th. So we're good to go here, but just for future reference, if you're going to start that garden a little bit earlier, you want to make sure you try to get past that last freeze date to reduce any risk of losing some crops. And this thing I would definitely say is probably the most important thing you'll do for your whole garden, and that's finding a great spot to start your garden. So this is crucial. Just like real estate, location is your best most important thing to think about. So choose an area that receives a minimum of 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight. So more is better. And make sure that there aren't any big trees or buildings that are really covering that sunlight the majority of the day. You want to think about to get started is deciding what kind of bed you want to have. If you look at the bottom, we have a different options. The one to the far left would be a potted plant. The one would just be on the ground that was peeled up. And the one to the far right would be a raised bed. So we are in Texas, and if you are trying to do a garden in the city, the soil is most likely tampered with because you do have a lot of drain in your house, and so there might be some chemicals that ran off from your house into that soil. So I would say that would probably your best bet if you're doing some city gardening. It's not going to necessarily be the only thing you can do or something you have to do. I'm just saying your best bet if you're trying to go via your options here. So some perks of having that raised bed would include the drainage control and soil composition controls. Not that handy with power tools. You may want to consider some stones or using a container, and that can be an alternative to that raised bed. And then at least you want to make that soil count. So if you're going through all this work and buying all this produce and product and trying to make your garden thrive the best it can, don't skip out of soil. So when you're getting in that city soil, that it is going to carry some toxic substances. So you want to have that raised bed and ideally get some soil with a mixture of compost and fertilizer. And that is a great way to top off the bed. But make sure you pick some mulch that is made of small tree branches, leaves, and buds. You always want to read the ingredients on some of that mulch because they will try to take your money and make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck there. Another option is you can always check around at local vendors. So I know people that live near the lake that will actually work on nourishing their own soil, and they'll package it and sell it. Same with their fertilizers. So it's a great option, especially a natural option for you. Talk about is warm season vegetables. One of the biggest and easiest mistakes you can make is to plant something that's not exactly in season or a good time for it to thrive. So you want to vegetables that can actually thrive in the Texas heat. You're looking for that summer vegetable or maybe late spring, early fall. So these are some of the things that will actually thrive pretty well in the summer where you're at. I know growing up we always made tons of cantaloupe in the summer, so I knew that one was a great thriving one. If you're looking for a complete list or some helpful tips on how to know what is in season, one to find any kind of seeds, you can always look on the back. They'll tell you when it would be best for them to thrive. And then also there's different websites and different organizations will actually lay out a calendar year and what's best when. So one of the resources that I actually pulled for this presentation would be the NM AgriLife extension. And they lay out the vegetable garden planning guide, and this is last updated in 2015. So pretty good place to go to if you want to plan out your year or maybe just a specific season, or maybe you're just looking to grow something and I don't know, hey, when do I need to put this in the ground? So it's a good place to go to and try to plan out your planting season. And I have this link at the end of this webinar, but if you want me to send you this flyer, just let me know and I can always shoot it over to you in an email. So watering is obviously a very important thing when you're planting, but I think one of the easiest things is not knowing, am I watering too much? Am I watering not enough? You know, really want those plants to be able to talk to us, and there are a few ways you can under them and know what they need. So a good rule of thumb is watering 2 to 3 times a week. Now we are in Texas and the heat can really skyrocket, especially in the summer. So you look for what's called an indicator plant. This would be a plant with some big leaves, or it could be small leaves, but it's basically a plant that the leaves will shrivel up a little bit when they are running a little dry. So that would be a good indicator of knowing, hey, I need water. Also, looking at your soil is a good indicator of knowing when to water. So if you get the soil and look about ½ an inch in and it's totally dry, then you know it's time to water. So these are all just kind of maybe kind of factors because it's very touch and go basis because it's just a matter of judgment, and you never know what kind of weather we're going to get. So obviously we have some rain coming through, then you're going to be good. But another good tip is just making most out of what you have. If you need to water in the morning or late in the evening to eliminate some of that evaporation, then do so. Because if all it is the afternoon to water, obviously that's better than nothing, but you're going to have some evaporation happen if you do water in direct sunlight. So it's about. Also, when you put those plants that maybe the indicator plants with the big leaves, you want to try to avoid weighing the leaves. So they can become droopy. That can actually do a couple things. They can cast a shadow and follow another plant and kind of eliminate the sunlight it gets. But the thing is it'll attract some bugs or maybe fungus, and so to prevent having anything like that in your garden. And again, making the best of what you can do to have water stay in your garden, meaning buy good mulch or fertilizer or soil that actually holds in water, and then make sure that your crops stay hydrated. And then not least, we're going to talk about upkeep and maintenance. I get a lot of questions about fertilizers and should I use them, should I not? And that's another judgment call. And it's also kind of depends on what kind of plant you're planting. If it's something that is going to have a hard time thriving in our climate, then you may want to dip into fertilizers or plant food. So it's just there's no right or wrong. I can't really tell you an exact answer on that. And then also you want to keep the weeds away. Because anytime you have weeds growing in your garden, they're going to take away from any kind of nourishment, food, water, anything away from your actual crops. So you want to keep those out of your garden. And the same bugs. Bugs will eat away at your garden. So sometimes this also goes into play with life. So I grew up out in the country, so we had to worry about. We had to put up an electric fence around our garden.
So if you're in the city, you probably won't have that problem unless you have some pesky squirrel birds in your area. If that's the case, you can always look at alternatives of maybe putting up a fake owl, something that will try to scare other animals away. But when you use any kind of pesticides, just make sure you're reading the labels really well and make it safe for your circumstance. Maybe if you have some pets that are going to be around the vegetable garden a lot and they may be getting into it, make sure you don't get something that will be harmful to them or your children. Make sure you show them the stress of how harmful it could be. Yeah. So as long as you wash your produce really well, you should be okay with any kind of pesticides. There is a list online called the Dirty Dozen. And if you're about GMOs or any other kind of pesticides and want to know, should I buy organic, it's a good place to go to. So again, it's called the Dirty Dozen, and it'll lay out which will actually be harmful if it's using pesticides, and you may buy organic. And then also some that aren't, it doesn't really matter. So I don't want you to waste your money there. Last but not least would be off-season maintenance. So spending all this time and money on your soil, you want to keep it going and keep oxygen there throughout the off-season of when you're not planting. So I would suggest a ground covering. What this does is it really does keep that oxygen in your soil, it keeps everything fresh. Sometimes it helps keep some away, so a little less work when it comes in for you to plant again. But it's always a good thing to keep all that hard work intact. And here are helpful resources that I like to use, places that you can go and actually purchase some seeds, or maybe you want to learn more about GMOs. And then also at the very bottom of the list of links, the one that is underlined is the A&M earlier, and that is where you can kind of plan out your calendar year for gardening. So if you want to know or want me to send you these links, just let me know. Shoot me an email at corporatewellness@swhealth.org. I can get those to you. Say thank you for joining today's webinar, and as always, happy gardening, and just let me know if you have any questions, and please send me some pictures. I'd love to see what you're growing in your garden. All right, thanks. Have a great day.